Yep. Few of us have the courage for that which we really know. Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche, 1844 to 1900. A big expression going around, especially when I was out in California among Hispanics, was I told him, I told him, I told him, something to that effect. And if you've got a person over the age of 25, let's say, and you tell them something, more than likely they know what you're telling them already. They already know. They just don't want to know. They don't want to know, and you think that you're going to beat it into them by telling them over and over and beating on them. Not literally, but beat them over the head with it. My father, God rest his soul. Odin rest his soul. Yeah. He would spend, if you talk to him for 45 minutes, he would spend 15 minutes, telling you how you messed up your finances. 15 minutes, what a terrible person you are. 15 minutes that you were messing up your job. And then the last 30 seconds, he'd tell you how much he loved you and how proud he was of you, and then he'd hang up. If you didn't start screaming in pain somewhere in the conversation. Because he couldn't accept the fact that you weren't going to listen to him. I guess he grew up, the most important person in his life, in his young life when he was 17, was his drill sergeant. When he went off, the Korean War was still going on when Dad went in the military. And he tells a story that he was 17 and he weighed 117 pounds. He said that as a kid he was always hungry, always wanted something to eat, never could satisfy himself. Told me once that he ate 13 bananas or something. So that's where I guess that's where I get my eating, was from my dad. And you wouldn't know it because he was a skinny guy most of his life. But he dealt with reality pretty good. He dealt with things. I guess I'm contradicting what I said. He knew life was harsh. But he couldn't deal with the reality that I wasn't going to listen, or I wasn't going to do what he wanted, or I couldn't improve. He believed his kids could be better. Well, there's a lot of people. I'm dealing with somebody now. He thinks his answer is college and getting in shape. His life was going great. He had a great girl, had a beautiful child. He was making great money. But all of a sudden, he just stops it all. Decides to go back to school, and he's going to go to school, and one day he's going to be great. Don't work like that. If you see these crows out here, they're not trying to be great. They're just crows. That's what they're doing. They don't worry. They just live their lives. We don't do that anymore. We become hypnotized in this matrix that we live in. The Matrix, the movie, the Matrix that Mr. Maxwell alluded to. They've got us convinced that we have to live in their world. We have to do what they want us to do. Well, I want you to understand something. You're an indigenous person right now. They have you convinced that you're civilized, that you're not indigenous. Of course, you don't have all the things that an indigenous person does. You don't have the background they have. You don't have the culture around you. You don't have the friendship circles. You don't know how to live off the land. You don't know how to do these things, but you know how to live off this land, this landscape we're in. You're indigenous to this world. You came from this planet. You're a part of it. Your origins may be a mystery to you. Like a fourth of my origins, I don't know. I have a grandfather who came here mysteriously, said he was from Italy, said he had a certain life, and we don't know. We don't know. My father told me one of my last conversations, one of the last dozen conversations that we had, that he had another family in Ohio that he would go see. So what else was he lying about? What else was he not saying? What else was he misrepresenting? I mean, the guy was a liar. I mean, he had to be. He didn't want to hurt my grandmother. Well, just slapping around and abusing her and verbal abuse. I'm sure he did that. By all accounts, he was a great man. He built all the roads in Harrison County, where I came from, to come out here in West Virginia. So he had greatness. But Dad, I remember Dad talking about this, and he didn't have a tinge of bitterness about it, that his father was out dogging his mother, that his father ignored him, that his father didn't take care of his family. He just thought it was great that his dad had another family. So I don't think he was dealing with reality, because that should have hurt him. You know, while he should have been taking care of business with his kids, spending money on his kids, he had 11 or 12 kids with my grandmother. A bunch of them. They had stuff. They had so many I couldn't even count them all. And he was over there with another family. So that was definitely a Papa was a Rolling Stone scenario there. Well, at least his stone, it rolled to Ohio and then back. But you don't have to make yourself anything. You don't have to sit around and do all that. That is just a bunch of crap. You know, here you are, this planet is 3 billion years old, and you've been in process of being made for 3 billion years, and all of a sudden you're going to go along in 2 weeks and transform yourself, and that's going to really do something. It doesn't have anything to do with the genetic makeup, where you come from, what you're made of, all the things, your family, your ancestries. You just want to change it all because you think it's a bright idea. It don't work that way. It doesn't. It's not that way. Live in reality, be yourself, and you're fine. You're fine the way you are. Be yourself. Live your way. Find your own path. Listen to your insides. Listen to your heart. Listen to your mind. And listen to people around you who care about you and who don't want to fuck you over. It's pretty simple. Bye-bye.